Hello everyone, how are you? Today's lesson is on inclusive education. Inclusive education. See, this is very important question in B.Ed and also UGC NET exam. At least 5 questions or at least 3 to 4 questions we get from this inclusive education in UGC NET exam, and B.Ed it is very important question. Okay, so please go through this question. Okay, so first of all, in 10 mark B.Ed final sem, they'll ask what is mean by inclusive education. So that carries 2 marks, and the principles or sometimes scope or sometimes the importance or characteristics or benefits, they will segregate and ask for 8 marks. So altogether it is 10 mark question. Okay, so you can explain this with meaning of inclusive education. Okay, it carries 2 marks. So at least you should know 4 points in that. You can just give it as an introduction or meaning of inclusive education. So what is inclusive? What is inclusive? Inclusive means including, adding. Okay, so inclusive. Exclusive, leaving that. Exclude means leaving. Include, add. Okay, inclusive education means it's a new approach towards educating the children. See, in olden days, the disabled people were not joining the school, but later on they added this disability. Okay, these children with disabled, okay, disability and learning difficulties, okay, together they put them together under one roof, so that they get an equal opportunity. They get equal opportunity. So this is an exact meaning of inclusive education. Okay, so inclusive education is a new approach towards educating the children with disability and learning difficulties with that of normal ones under the same roof. Okay, see, normally how the children go to school, in same way the disabled children also attended the regular classes in the regular classrooms. Okay, so in India they have implemented this inclusive education supported by relevant policies, legal enactments, schemes and programs and plans. Okay, so first understand what is meaning of inclusive education. So this has been started in the year like before 1974. Okay, so in this the government of India have given books, okay, pen, books, textbooks, uniforms, the up and down charges, okay, transport. So these are the things in 1974 itself they have included. Okay, later on they created. See, in 1974, the centrally sponsored scheme for integrated education for disabled children, that is IEDC. Okay, so it was introduced to provide equal opportunities to all the children with disabilities in general schools and facilitates their retention. Okay, so now understand what is the meaning of inclusive education. It means that all children attend and welcomed by their neighborhood schools in age appropriate regular classes. They are also supported to learn, contribute and participate in all aspects of the life of the school. Inclusive education brings all students together in one classroom and community regardless of their strength and weaknesses in any area, and seeks to maximize the potentials of all students. Okay, there in picture you can see the equality. Okay, even they are disabled, even the child is in the wheelchair, even if the child is having some impairment, disabled child, everybody was put into one classroom. Understand, this is the meaning of inclusive education. Before coming to this government schemes, let's see the definition of inclusive education. After the meaning of inclusive education, it is necessary to write the definition. Whenever you answer the B.Ed question, please make sure that you write the meaning, exact meaning of the word, and start to define that. Okay, if you define who has written that, the author name, at least one or two definitions will work out, will give you more marks. Okay, so inclusive education implies all young learners, young people with or without disabilities being able to learn together through access common preschool and schools with an appropriate network of support services. This UNICEF has defined inclusive education means all children in the same classrooms, in the same school. It means real learning opportunities for groups who have traditionally been excluded, not only children with the disabilities but speakers of minority languages too. Okay, so this is very important. Please add this definition before you proceed with your essay answer. So what is the importance of inclusive education? There are many scanners, even you get the scanners, tutors to get the answers, but you make it into point. Simply writing a paragraph will not help. Make it into a point, okay, so that as soon as they see the answer, they give the mark. Okay, be clear with your answers. What are the importance of inclusive education? What is the importance? See, children develop a positive understanding of themselves and others. So when the children with the disabled, okay, if the children is impaired, hearing impaired, vision, blindness, locomotor disorders, this all you will learn as we start to know inclusive education. So this children may have the inferiority complex or negative understanding. So that's why if you make them to sit with the children along with the other children, a normal child in the same classroom, they may develop positive understanding of themselves. So when they start that positive attitude, they have the confidence. They will win the confidence to achieve their goal. Yes or no? They will achieve their goal with their confidence. Okay, and also they develop the academic skills. They will get friendship, new friendship, and they learn in different ways. And they understand that right of education. Okay, so every student's right to be included, and there is a greater sensitivity and better understanding of their strengths and weakness. Moreover, they will have the tolerance. Okay, so they will understand about each other. If they go to the school, how they can also understand how the world sees them and how they are looking at them back. Okay, so this positive attitude to bring them under one roof will make them to achieve many things in the world. Okay, so the next thing is look into the principles, the main principles. Main principle is very simple, and it is only the three principle of choosing appropriate materials. Principles of inclusive education. See, principle of teaching all students. See, you cannot teach all the students in the same way. Students learn in different ways. So it is important to develop the skills to teach in different ways. See, for example, some students learn best when introduced to an information visually. See, during the pandemic, all the teachers were using this PPTs, the videos they shared this, and the students were very much interested to learn more things when they see and learn. Visually, they see and they learn. So, while others learn best through hearing information. So, working in groups or activity-based projects, these are very important in teaching all the students. Then the principles of choosing appropriate materials, principle of exploring multiple identities, building confidence and affirming identity for students supports their learning. And also the principle, very important principle of teaching and learning about cultures, okay, and cultures of even the minority people, adopting and integrating lessons properly and promoting social justice. Okay, so this inclusive education believes individual differences as the source of richness and diversities and not as a problem, to provide equal educational opportunities for all children. There should not be any discrimination between schools. So this is the basic principles of inclusive education. Before going to principles, you should know what is the aim and the objectives of inclusive education. So what would be the main aim and the objectives of inclusive education? The main important thing is the government wanted to give equality. The government wanted to give equal education for all instances. It is included the disabled children also, the disability children and the learning difficulty children or special attention children, all coming under in a same roof. They need the special needs, but the government wanted to give them the equal education. So the major aim is to welcome with open mind everybody to school, where pains and sorrows are shared with others as joy and happiness, to strengthen the human dignity and to remove many stereotypes with each other's mind and accept the fact that nobody is perfect. So to give an opportunity to non-disabled peoples to share with peers who are different in one way or another, and to learn to accept and respect their differences. To give disabled peoples the opportunity to bring part of social community and get a realistic idea of with what multiform and competitive societies looks like as their own possibilities and limitations. And another important thing is to create ample opportunities to develop self-esteem needed for human beings to live a dignified life. Yes or no? So this is very important. So what are the types of disabilities in inclusive education? So there are different types which will be included. Who are the disabled child who needed this inclusive education? They are the hearing impairment, visual impairment, speech impairment, mild to moderate autism spectrum disorders, emotional disturbance, learning disabilities, and intellectual disabilities. So these all come under the needs, those who all are under disabled children. So what is the advantage of giving inclusive education? What is the benefit? What is the advantages? See, the first advantage is they develop a sense of belongingness and become a better prepared for the life in the community. If they learn, they will face the world tomorrow. Okay, with the courageous, with that confidence they face the world, and it encourages the involvement of parents in educating of their children. It fosters a culture of respect and provides opportunity to learn about and accept individual differences. It provides better opportunities for learning and improving the quality of education for all. It can help to overcome discrimination and promotes wider inclusion. So, it helps in improving the quality of education for all, which will be beneficial for each section of the society. It will also overcome the problem of discrimination, as inclusive education provides equal opportunity to both disabled and non-disabled person. So to put into a nutshell, the main important point you have to understand is, the main thing is, there is no discrimination in inclusive education, and it provides equal opportunities to both the disabled children and the non-disabled children. Understanding? So these are the benefits for of inclusive education. So what may be the disadvantage? What may be the disadvantage of inclusive education? The first means is inadequate resources. Yes, exactly, inadequate resources, because this type of children needed more resources. Each disabled children need different resources. The lack of proper resources could lead to the failure of inclusive classroom, especially due to lack of individualization. Every child would receive the same approach to education and not something that caters to their different identities. The second one is behavior issues. Students with disabilities are at risk of getting bullied. Yes, in some schools, some children, they are at risk of getting bullied, as any type of disability is viewed as a sign of weakness. It also increases the chance of disabled students indulging in inappropriate behavior, as they wish to feel normal like their peers or hide their disabilities. Yes, this happens. And the third one is the requirement of special classrooms arrangement for certain disabilities. Some disabilities require special attention and a more inclusive accommodation. Students who require such special attention might not be able to keep up with their peers. They might feel left out or might not be able to catch up with their classmates, which could lead to stress. Okay, so what are the scope of inclusive education? What is the scope of this inclusive education? There have been efforts internationally to include children with disabilities in educational mainstreams. In order to achieve truly inclusive education, we need to think about and incorporate children with special needs into regular schools. In effective inclusive program, teachers adapt activities to include all the students, even though there are individual goals may be different. Its scope will increase when most of the students learn and perform better when exposed to the richness of the general education curriculum. Inclusive provides an opportunity to develop relationships. Classmates of students with disabilities also experience growth in social cognition, often can become more aware of the needs of others in an inclusive classroom. Inclusive education helps the disabled child to develop a sense of pride in their work, because they actually feel like they have accomplished something. Educating children with disabilities along with their non-disabled peers is considered to be one of the best way to provide education to the mass population. So this will be fine. Please take notes, and in the next part we will listen about the different types of disabled. Okay, the target groups in inclusive education we will learn separately. Each diverse learners, marginalized groups, learners with disabilities, all this we'll check in the next class. Thank you.